Hey guys, work in progress here. I want to tell you about my time at the TXO Open event. So, we played the first 3 days and we brought a bunch of our guys from the local game store to come and hang out with us. So, we started out by playing Beer Hammer on Friday. Beer Hammer's super fun. It was BYOB, so Brian brought the Trulies. We had a great time with that. I actually ended up winning most drunk, which I ended up not remembering a lot of the games that I ended up playing for that one too. So if you do end up playing Beer Hammer, be a little careful because I know Brian was over here going, "Please, Nick, come back." It was a lot of fun though. We played our first game against Corey and Aaron, which was Custodes and Grey Knights. That was a lot of fun, especially playing the very melee and World Eater heavy play style of the new Court of the Phoenician. Very much enjoyed bringing that all weekend. Loved being able to be a little drunk and shadow box in the background of each event. But we played 3 games across that Friday. Each one, I lost more and more consciousness as we played. These were actually one of the guys from Community who does the 500-point Coliseum tournaments out there for a day. He brought his Lord of Skulls, and we had some Korn versus Nurgle versus Korn versus Slanesh, which was super fun. I got some great images of his Nurgle as well, which was insanely well painted. This was the first day on Saturday, so this was the beginning of the narrative event. This was my demonic cohort of the Blades of Indulgence versus Emma's Serpent's Brood of the Harlequins. It was a very, very fun battle, very close, but when it comes down to the Emperor's Children and our speed, you just get over places. That new Court of the Phoenician being able to move through walls with Fulgrim is just so nice. It's everything he ever needed. Probably still needs some more buffs, but he's still very fun to play. He's got his little cowboy hat that time, and he did not get jumped by 12 Harlequins for once, which is very nice because he gets that happen to him a lot. So these are a couple of the other tables that we were playing in our first round. It was a great time. So for the narrative story that we were doing is that the warp had melded all of time and all this crazy stuff. And so for some reason, instead of just chaos stuff, orc stuff showed up. And these big ancient titans showed up to be able to do battle. And so we had some warlord titans in an apocalypse game at the very end. But it was tough. Emperor's Children joined the Reclamation Force to come and get the Warlord Titans this time instead of trying to destroy them and snort all the juices from them. So it was a very, very fun time. Of course, the Reclamation Forces won because we did. It was super fun. But no, there was a lot of really cool maps. Everybody was having a great time, and there was some really beautifully painted units out there. Some really crazy stuff. And also, I would say there was a really great representation from a lot of different factions. So you would see all sorts of stuff on the field. I know there was one gentleman who brought his orcs, and he had a Stampa that he had brought. I believe it's the Stampa, the big orc mech. And he had actually painted Starry Night onto the front of it, and it looked incredible. So many really cool, well-painted stuff, some awesome cosplay. Emma, my partner, was very kind to help me get an Emperor's Children pauldron ready in time for this. And so thank you, Emma, of course. That was super fun. She brought her cosplay. Chris was in cosplay. There was another gentleman, Craig, who brought his guard cosplay. And it was just such a blast. So many games. A lot of them out of the Crusade book, and so these were a lot of missions that I had never really played before. Oh, that old hero from the Salamanders, so cool. But it was an awesome time. The end of it, and I think this is the footage coming up here. So this was the last battle before we got into the actual APOC ones. There's some of Brian's beautifully painted World Eaters versus one of those Canoptic Stalkers. Those things are absolutely crazy.
So it allows me to get close and it will
yeah, got some lovely Necrons from John. And here's Joe and Edwin who ran the narrative event for us. Thank you to those guys for sure. Moving on, this is actually our APOC battle that we started. So we started on the center table. It was myself. I didn't get everybody's name, unfortunately, and I'm terrible with names. So please leave a comment if you were there. I miss you. I know who you are. I just don't remember names very well. I'm sorry. But we got to play this really fun APOC battle where there was a gun battery in the middle. We had 2 Emperor's Children forces with a 1,000 Suns force. So very, very chaosy. Very, very, very demony. And we were going against the Death Watch, the Grey Knights, and seems like some guard that looked a little bit more similar to Gene Stealers, but I don't know. That's what Chris kept telling me. He kept telling me they were guard, but I wasn't quite sure. No, but it was a lot of fun. It was a great game, especially against getting a shot in on those Rogaldorns. Has all of my PTSD from shooting at Rogaldorns with bolt pistols and going, I please just need 1 wound. Please just give it to me. So it was very, very vindictful, very fun, very great game. Some great opponents. The Apox battles, there were about 5 tables going on all at once. 2 tables had Titans on them. 3 tables had just gun emplacements on them, but the gun emplacements were super fun. I know for our gun emplacement, we were at the center table, and we had this demonic head that once you controlled it, the guns came out of the head, and you'd be able to, like, shriek against your opponents and, like, melee stuff. It was a blast. Things were getting picked up left and right. My Fulgrim died turn 1 because they all got scared of it, so my Distraction Carnifex worked perfectly as planned. Sorry I have to sacrifice the Supreme Leader, but it's very Emperor's Children. But no, all jokes aside, this was an incredibly, incredibly fun event. Joe and Edwin put on an insane and fun time for us. Thank you to everybody who came out and played. I know for a lot of the guys who were playing at the store, it was a very new experience. Narrative is an interesting and different way of playing 40K. It's closer to how 40K I feel probably used to be in the days that I never played. I came in through 10th edition playing, but started painting in 8th edition. But it was a great time. Joe and Edwin put on a fantastic performance for us, really got us into the story, and had a really fun final battle for us to get through. And I know some of the guys at the store were getting through it and learning, but they did great. Winning games, kicking butt, and everybody was just having a great, great time. It's an event that if you've never tried narrative before, I definitely recommend trying it, especially if you're a little nervous about going into GTs or things like that. You don't really want to deal with the high pressure situations. I definitely recommend going and checking out a narrative instead. It's a fun, lighthearted competition for everybody to just enjoy themselves, play on a team, and really get into the spirit of 40K. Well, thanks guys for watching. Thanks for listening. Once again, like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.